Welcome, everybody, back to the Friar Talk podcast and YouTube channel. So for today's episode, we are going to be talking about who we think is going to be the Padres ace going into next season. Now, I will say to start out, none of us are expecting the Padres to go and make some marquee move in the starting pitching market, especially when you look at some of the prices of these guys. Max Scherzer potentially going to get $35+ million per year on whatever deal he signs. Padres probably aren't going to be very interested in that kind of market. So for this one, we are going to only be talking about guys that are on the Padres team right now. So Chase, who's your guy? Who do you think is going to be the Padres ace in 2022?
I'm kind of probably picking the fan favorite here. No Joe. He had the breakout year. He had the no. He was the only guy to not miss a start. He may have had his ups and downs, but he still had a really low 3 ERA. He threw the most innings. He, was able to strike people out when he had to. He limited his walks. He just, completed himself last year. And I think he can still take another step up from what he did last year. I think he earns that opening day start. And I think, that's kind of where you decide who your ace is. Who are you going to roll out opening day? Who earned it? And that's no Joe. I don't think you can make a better argument for a guy to be the ace of the team. Yeah, there's other talented pitchers on this team. El Cajon, his family owns the coffee shop. He threw the first no-hitter in Padres history, and he had a breakout year. That's just a recipe, and he wears 44. Who else was the Padres ace at 44? Jake Peavy. You know what? It's just meant to be.
Yeah, mine's gonna be Ryan Weathers. No, just kidding. So for me, you guys know I'm a huge Mike Clevinger fan. I've been lobbying for Mike Clevinger, saying he's going to be worth that trade eventually. I think this could possibly be the year. There's not many guys who've come back successfully from a second Tommy John surgery. I will say that. There's also not many guys that have had 2 Tommy John surgeries. And one of the things that there's no guys that have gone 2 Tommy John surgeries that really are as successful as Mike Clevinger. There probably is like 1 or 2. I just can't remember off the top of my head. But Mike Clevinger over the past couple of years, you look at who's been the top 5 in ERA. Mike Clevinger's 5th behind DeGrom, Scherzer, and 2 other people, but he's 5th with the 2.97 ERA over that span. So he was dominant. He was super good over that span, and I know it might take him some time, and it's super easy to make the argument for Joe Musgrove as the ace. He's going to be the opening day starter. He was fantastic last year. I just, we all wanted to pick different people. So, super easy to make the argument for Joe. He was great. He's got great stuff. This wipeout sliders, great 2-strike pitch. And he's probably going to end up with the best ERA again. But I'm just looking at down the road, after the All-Star break, who could lead this Padres team to the playoffs? Who could be the ace at that time? And, with time, with more innings thrown, with being able to extend his innings thrown per game, I think it'll be Mike Clevinger. Pitch arsenal, stuff, all that kind of stuff that you're looking at with Mike Clevinger. You look at his highlights, everything is just fantastic about the guy. He's getting, I believe he worked with Ruben Niebla already before. I'm not entirely sure, but he's getting him back if so. And, everything's shaping up for Mike Clevinger to have another successful season. You look at how he's talked about his second Tommy John surgery, dealing with it in rehab. He says it's a lot easier. He's going through the process a lot faster. He's already pumping probably low 90s, mid 90s at Petco. I have huge confidence in Clev to go out there and be the second half ace of this team.
Yeah, I like both your guys' picks. I definitely think that to start the year, I think it will be Joe Musgrove, at least in terms of he's going to be the opening day starter. He's going to be the face of this pitching rotation. Mike Clevinger, and I get the argument too, because Isaac, you bring up to start the year, that's not really a discussion of is he going to be back throwing 7 innings? No, of course not. It's going to take some time to get him going, but down the stretch, could he be that guy? 100%. I think the main thing that I'd point out about that is it's a lot of it is dependent on how good his rehab was. Is he able to fully recover? And so there are question marks there. However, when he's healthy, he's great. And everything is kind of pointing to Mike Clevinger's had a great rehab. Mike Clevinger is doing well the way he's talked about it. we saw Isaac. I think you sent us the video in the chat. And you're like, "Do you guys hear that glove?" When he was thrown in the bullpen, like he looks good. Like he looks like he's recovering. And like you said, he's talked about it that it's been a little bit easier going through this process a second time. So I think it's likely that it could be one of those two guys. However, I'm going to be going with Blake Snell. He is a guy that it took a long time for him to get going last year, but man, when he is on, he is. You can make the argument he is the best pitcher in the league when he's on. And that's the big caveat. It's about when. Feels like he kind of got comfortable here. His late season surge was almost kind of like, hey, Rothschild, you didn't know what you were doing at all. My changeup absolutely fell apart. I couldn't even throw it anymore. And like that was just kind of like a little bit of momentum. I think if there's any guy that's going to have a bounce back season, any pitcher potentially in the league that could have this like, oh, he's going to bounce back and become that guy and regain form, I think it's Blake Snell. I think that he can do that. We know the numbers that he's had in the past. 2018 year was insane. 2020 was a great season as well. He's also had a few years, 2017, 2019, and then last year. So it's like one on, one off, and he has to make those adjustments as his career's gone on. This is the year where he's going to be, I mean, what the pattern shows is that it's every other year that he has like that big year. So if he does that again, that's this year. And I would guess that he will come into the season being the number 2 in the rotation. That's just my guess. But when he's at his best, he's the best one in this rotation. I truthfully believe that. Now you can bring up the points of like, okay, he didn't look that great last year. That's super fair. He wasn't pitching very long. But when he was going at the end of the year, it felt you're pretty confident him going 6 or 7 innings. Now, early in the year, it was like, okay, like you're hoping you can get like 4 out of it sometimes. So that's the big question there. But I mean, if he has his changeup and it's improved, if Niebla is there and he's able to help him, get back to the guy that he was in Tampa Bay, which I believe that's why I think that hiring was such a big deal, because I believe that Niebla is the guy that can help a Blake Snell, help a Yu Darvish come back, like help all these guys and improve their game. If you do that and you get a top quality of all the pitchers in the Padres rotation, Blake Snell is going to be the guy that's going to be the best. So I'm going to put my money on Blake Snell to be the ace this year. Is it going to be opening day? No, that's going to be Joe Musgrove. I think you're right there, Chase. But down the stretch, I think the guy that you want to give the ball to, whenever it's, if it's a wild card game, and we talked about this in the past, we talked about this last year, he's the guy you want to give the ball to if you're going to play the Dodgers. You want him against the top competition in the league. So for that sake, I would go with Blake Snell. One other guy we didn't really bring up much. Just want to hear your guys' quick thoughts on him. Yu Darvish. Do you guys think Yu Darvish can have that bounce back? Like, where are you guys at with him? What are your expectations for him in 2022?
That's a tough one because, he is getting up there in age. He's starting to battle injuries. He had the lower back problems. He had the hip problems. His velocity was there, but his stuff seemed to flatten out at the second half of this part of the season. You could call it injuries. You could call it the sticky stuff ban. He will have an entire offseason to prepare, without the sticky stuff, possibly make changes in his pitches. But he isn't getting any younger. He's going to have the same problems, the lower back, the hip problems. We've seen it with Kershaw. Kershaw healthy for a portion of the season, but then his lower back becomes a problem. And, every time I see that lower back problem come up, I'm just like, I think of Kershaw. It's happened in the past 3 years for Kershaw. He's had a lower back problem when he pitches, and after a certain amount of time, he's gone for like a good month to 2 months. And you can't be an ace of the team and be missing that much time. When he pitches and he's there and he's completely healthy, he's a monster. We saw that in the first half of the season. There wasn't a better pitcher than Yu Darvish for like the first 2 months of season. Then everything kind of fell downhill. So what I'm hoping from Darvish is kind of a 3.3 to 3.5 ERA. He's probably going to be in the 4 spot, if not the 3 spot, depending on where they put Clev. But, for him being that old, I still think he is an ace caliber pitcher, but we have to temper our expectations about how many innings he can go and, maybe try to get him more rest. So in that case, I don't think he can be the ace. But like I said, about a 3.3 to 3.5 ERA is what I'm expecting from him this year.
Yeah, I think what we've seen these past 2 seasons is that not Mike Clevinger, Yu Darvish is fantastic throughout the first 60 games of the season. 2020, he put up a Cy Young caliber year through a 60-game season, of course. This past year, he put up fantastic numbers up until mid-June. He was fantastic. He was our best pitcher. It felt like every time he was up there, he was a guaranteed win. Now, Chase brought up his age. Yeah, he's right. He's not getting any younger. That's the main issue, is that how is he going to hold up in an 162-game season? Granted, this season's probably going to be shorter because of the whole thing coming up with the CBA contract, whatever it's called. This season will probably be shorter, so maybe we will see, a a good Yu Darvish for an expanded period of time. But with that being said, if it's like 130 to 140 games, how long are we going to see a good, consistent Yu Darvish? Is he even going to start out that way? How is he going to bounce back from his injuries? How is he going to bounce back without the sticky stuff? That's why it was so hard to pick one, because there's so many questions. And I know there's a lot of questions surrounding Clevinger, of course, coming back from injury. But me personally, I feel like I've seen enough from Clevinger to say, like, he will bounce back. Like I mentioned, top 5 in ERA through a certain time frame. I forgot how long it was, but he was fantastic throughout that time. Great pitch mix, has shown consistency. Yu Darvish last year was great, showed consistency throughout the first half. Not even the first half. Come close to the All-Star break is when he started falling off. So that's why it's so hard to pick Yu Darvish. So many questions surrounding him. Longevity, sticky stuff, pitch mix, all that kind of stuff. And it was hard to pick him. With that being said, like Chase brought up, it'd be great to have him be around a 3.3 or 3.5. Now, would that grant him the ace spot, like the name of the ace? No, it's probably going to be somebody better. That's just how the league is now. But that'd be a fantastic year for Yu Darvish. I would love that out of him. And I do think he has the ace caliber stuff. But a lot of questions surrounding him right now.
Yeah, age is such a big deal. And I think also, that's why we're not necessarily pro the Padres going out and signing Max Scherzer. Why? Because he's starting to get banged up a little bit too. Darvish is he's under contract for 2 more years. This year this upcoming season he's going to be 35, and then next year he's going to be 36. That is getting really up there in terms for a starting pitcher. Like, you don't see guys go super long. Over the course of his career, he's pitched how many innings? I know he's over 1,500 strikeouts. Let's see how many innings he has. Bear with me. Give me 1 second. But anyways,
I'm guessing it's 1,300.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. It's just sitting here loading. But he's a guy that you said there's a lot of questions. There absolutely is. Injury, sticky stuff. It's not like, and I've also heard, it's not like Darvish is a cheater. That's not what this is. It's just, it changed. The rules changed where he cannot use the substances that he's used. And a guy like him who throws 11 pitches, he's been using that. That's a huge adjustment to make. Another reason why I'm super stoked about Niebla. Niebla is the guy that go in there and help him make that adjustment. But in terms of being an ace, I don't think he's going to be there. I think maybe if you give him some rest every once in a while, like you were kind of mentioning, Chase, maybe you keep his innings pitched between 130 to 160 over balancing that out over the whole course of the year. I think you might see Darvish a lot more healthy come that end of the season and pitching a lot better. Maybe that keeps him at between that 3.3, 3.5 ERA. I would probably temper my expectations just a bit. I would say that I would probably want him just a sub 4. I'd be very happy with. And I think that's a big win. He's owed a lot of money the next couple years. Go back real quick. He's almost to 1,300 innings pitched in his career. He's 7 shy. So a lot of wear and tear on him. If he can be healthy and he can have a 3.9 ERA, I would be very, very happy with that. He's in the 4. That's a good pitcher in your 4 spot. That's very, very good. So I think that's obtainable. I don't think that he's going to be like the guy that I think that we kind of thought he was when they made the move for him coming off of that great year with the Cubs. But you look at the couple seasons before that as well, and his numbers aren't top tier. He's around 3.8 to 4.5 for 4 seasons outside of 1 year before the year in 2020. So I think that it's a little bit tougher for him. However, he can still be a very impactful player and a guy that's really important for this team. I just don't think he's going to be like that top tier pitcher. But with all that said, anything else you guys want to add to this discussion?
I just want to talk about Blake Snell real quick. I was a pretty big Blake Snell hater at first, and then after the All-Star break, or kind of a little before the All-Star break, I would say, fantastic. I loved him. He's like, I know Musgrove's fun to watch and everything, but Blake Snell's my favorite pitcher to watch when he's doing the stuff that he was doing before he got hurt. Easily my favorite pitcher to watch. He's super entertaining. Just a guy that, he's super easy to like. He's super easy to like on your team. And he seems super fun to talk to. Hopefully we could have him on one day, but lots of love to that guy for sure.
Oh, absolutely. The Blake Snell interviews are amazing. The one where he was on MLB TV was great. But yeah, so hopefully this is something where you guys are like, hey, this guy's gonna be the ace. And there's 3 guys I think that could very likely be in that conversation. Though I do think that Clevinger is a guy who it's not going to be at the beginning of the year. And you said that, Isaac, but going to be interesting to see how this year plays out. Hopefully all these guys play up to their potential, and it's like a discussion of like, okay, who's the best of the best? Not like, oh, this guy's the clear ace. No, who is better? Because all these guys played so well. And I think that's very likely to happen. So hopefully that's the case. But that is going to do it for today's episode. Thank you all for listening. And we'll be back on Sunday, 9 a.m., doing a little live stream. Whatever you guys want to talk about, really. We'll talk about football, talk about the Padres. So 9 a.m. on Sunday. And we will talk to you guys then. So see you soon.